Radical Islamists pushing Sharia law to change America. McCall voted to ban Sharia law in Oklahoma. And as governor, McCall will continue standing with President Trump to crush radical Islam.
Keeping radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country.
And they're coming for Oklahoma next.
That right there, folks, is the latest campaign ad from Charles McCall, who's running for the Republican nomination for governor of Oklahoma. And if you were thinking that this was the same guy who brought us this gem a couple months back,
let me be perfectly clear. Cutting this banana does not make it an orange.
You would be correct. And besides, what is it with these guys and their obsession with other people's kids' genitals? I don't know. Right out of the gate, I just want to ask some simple questions. Who is coming? How? Is there some kind of caravan coming down I-35 from Minnesota? When is this happening? Because if something is really happening, there should be evidence, right? The ad says McCall voted to ban Sharia law. Okay, but did he? The constitutional amendment banning Sharia law in Oklahoma, State Question 755, was on the ballot way back in 2010, and it passed big with 70% of the vote. But Charles McCall wasn't even in the Oklahoma House yet. He was elected in 2012 and didn't take office until 2013. So he didn't vote on it as an elected representative to bring it to a vote of the people. So I'm guessing he's just talking about voting for it just as a private citizen like everyone else. I don't know. I'm sure he probably did vote for it, but the Sharia law ban was immediately put on hold and pretty quickly struck down in federal court, which everyone knew it would be. It was blatantly unconstitutional. The state appealed that to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals in Denver, and of course they lost there too. You know, that pesky thing called the Constitution. I mean, this is America. You can't just single out one religion to basically give it the middle finger. What is the problem that we needed to solve in the first place? I mean, name the Oklahoma judge who was trying to impose Sharia law. Name the Oklahoma bill that was pushing it. There wasn't one. Even the Republican lawmaker who proposed the Sharia law ban back then described it as a preemptive strike. Preemptive against what? If it was so much of a threat that we had to amend our state constitution to single out a religion, but it never went into effect because it was shot down by the courts, it's been 15 years. In all that time, name the one thing that's happened. One judge, one bill, one case, anything. There's nothing, because there was never anything. It was just a racist lie designed to whip up a certain kind of voter, and everyone involved knew it. But you know what's really ironic about this whole thing? On top of all the time, all the money, all the effort that the state spent on the state question, and then fighting it in federal court here in Oklahoma, and then appealing to the 10th Circuit in Denver, Oklahoma taxpayers ended up having to pay over $300,000 in legal fees to the Muslim gentleman who filed the lawsuit. Because when we, the people, vote in some batshit crazy unconstitutional measure, guess who pays for it? We all do. So Mr. McCall, who absolutely knows better, is doubling down on this again now in 2026. But why? Because it's a proven formula. And it didn't start with Charles McCall. Remember, Trump himself shows up in this ad. I'm keeping radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country. He really said it. And McCall is jumping right on that bandwagon. He's straight up running the Trump playbook. You cook up a scary story, give people a villain, and then tell them that only you can save them from this threat that you just made up. Their high-powered campaign consultants apparently figured out that whipping up their base to be terrified of Sharia law taking over government is easy pickings. And boy, I think that's pretty sad. Now, stop and think about this from the other direction. If someone ran an ad that said, radical Christians are coming to impose biblical law in Oklahoma, how would that go over? Why does that hit differently just because we substituted Christianity for Islam? But the actual fact is that right here in Oklahoma, as well as other states, there have been proposals to mandate prayer and Bible reading in public schools. There's been legislation to require posting the 10 Commandments in classrooms. And there's actually been mandates to put Christian religious materials into the public school curriculum, which fortunately has since been reeled back a little bit. And those aren't some made-up boogeyman. Those are real proposals and real mandates from real openly Christian legislators and openly Christian public officials right here in our state. Now, if your concern is really about religious law mixing with government, then that concern ought to go in every direction, because the Constitution doesn't pick sides. It doesn't say no Sharia law, but yes, Christian Bible. It says that the government doesn't establish religion, period, full stop. That protects Christians, Muslims, Jews, non-religious people. It protects everyone. And if you're a patriot who believes in the Constitution and these things that are the most fundamentally American things that there are, then you get it. So if we're going to be real about who's actually trying to push their religious beliefs into government, maybe our Muslim neighbors aren't who we should really be worried about. I've been doing this for a while now, looking into the claims that politicians make and just asking the simplest question: where's the proof? I sat at lunch with a smart professional person who told me with a straight face that schools in their district were putting litter boxes in the classrooms for the kids who identify as cats. It's the same thing as this Sharia law nonsense. And anyone who stops to think about it for a minute, anyone who has any kind of basic critical thinking skills, knows that it's bullshit without even having to look into it. And if you did want to verify it, guess what? Everyone carries around with them at all times an instant portal to their choice of AI chatbot that will provide a thoroughly researched answer in seconds. But of course, that really only matters if the truth and actual facts matters to you. Politicians like Charles McCall, who run dishonest ads like this, ought to be ashamed of themselves. But they do it because it works. What bothers me even more is that otherwise good and decent people swallow this crazy stuff whole without ever questioning it. And I guess I sort of get it. It feels good to have a clear villain. They're coming. They're taking over. They're putting litter boxes in schools. That's simple. Real life isn't simple. But a scary ad with a deep voice, that's easy. But easy doesn't make it true. I'm taking a stand on this, and I'm putting it out there because I want to set that example for my kids and their kids, all the way down to my future great-grandkids, who I hope will find and watch this video long after I'm gone. But hey, maybe I've got it all wrong. Fair enough. Call me out. Make your best case. We will all be judged by history. So if you believe Sharia law is about to take over Oklahoma, don't be shy. Shout it from the rooftops. State your facts. Okay, maybe you don't want to take it that far, but if you think making up fake threats and fear-mongering is what qualifies someone to be governor of our state, then own that too. I'd love to hear how you justify that to future generations. So the TLDR here is if you in any way, shape, or form support Charles McCall, who is blatantly pandering to ignorance and hatred, put it on the record. Go ahead and own it, knowing that history is going to judge you by the actual facts. Get out your phone, make a video, use your real name and location just like I am. Post it publicly and send me the link. I will do everything I can to make sure that your great-grandkids will find your message. And they will also see my message calling you out as a racist. I could use a lot of other choice words, but I won't need to. Your words will speak for themselves. I'm confident I'm going to be on the right side of history. We've already had 15 years from the last time they pulled this crap to show them as being the racist liars that they are. How confident are you in backing them now that they're recycling this same old shtick? Put up or shut up. I dare you. Because one day your great-grandkids are going to find out what this time was like. They'll see the ads. They'll watch years of Trump footage. They'll hear the language. They might see your social media history, and maybe they'll see your response to my challenge right next to my message calling you out for what you are. He really said it. They're coming. That was 15 years ago. I'm still waiting.